Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda, and in this training video I'll talk about the two reasons why we are very likely to see another $1 trillion+ stimulus plan and more money in the hands of Americans because of the political and the economic realities of the world that we live in. Let's talk about political first. We are in an election year. The Republicans will do everything they can to get re-elected and everything they can to get the support of as many individuals as possible, to get as many votes as possible. The economic reality is Americans need more money. The $1,200 stimulus check just doesn't cut it. A lot of us are still waiting for unemployment benefits, and a lot of us are extremely worried and frustrated regardless of our income level. And I'll show you some studies that talk about Americans of pretty much all income levels struggling right now because they need more money. Now, when the March unemployment numbers came out, the March unemployment numbers were at 4.4%. When the April jobs report came out, it revealed that the unemployment rate went to 14.7%. Now, the Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin said that the real unemployment rate, which includes individuals who've either not applied for unemployment, or individuals who are waiting to get approved for unemployment, or individuals who are simply underemployed, is going to be closer to 22.8%. In fact, he did predict that the real number could be closer to as high as 25%. He did say this is not the fault of the American worker, this is not the fault of American businesses, this is the fault of the virus. Now, Mnuchin was optimistic, and I personally appreciate what the Federal Reserve has done, because if you looked at my previous training video, I talked about the global dominance of the US dollar as a reserve currency, as a world currency, as essentially the currency that drives the rest of the world economy, and all the actions that the Federal Reserve has done to not only prop up the US dollar in our country, but also to prop up the US dollar for the global economy. So I think that everything that's being done is good, and I do believe, and what Steven Mnuchin said, he said that next year will be a much better year and we will all bounce back. So we can take some comfort in that. Now let's talk about some of the job losses. If you look at your screen right here, the number of jobs lost during the Great Recession, we're talking about the 2008-2009 recession, was about 8.7 million jobs, and it took several years to recover those jobs. So the number of jobs created after the Great Recession was 22.4 million jobs. However, the number of unemployed insurance claims in the last 7 weeks, and this is from the Department of Labor, and this came from CNBC, was 33.5 million, and these numbers are only going to increase. So the number of unemployed claims in the last several weeks have wiped out all the job gains since the Great Recession. This gives you a sense of how massive this current crisis is and how overloaded the state architecture is, which is probably why a lot of us are still waiting for unemployment. And this chart is even more astonishing. This is a chart of recession job losses starting from 1948 all the way through to the current year, 2020. You'll see that graph, you'll see the x-axis, which shows 0% all the way down to minus 14%. That's the percentage of job losses relative to peak month of unemployment. So you can see that over the last 70 to 80 years, there's been a gradual reduction in jobs, and then there's been a gradual bounce back over several months, in some cases over several years. Now look at the red line. That red line is what's happening right now, what's happened in the past several weeks, and look at how it compares with everything that's happened in the last 80 years. This will give you a sense of how the situation is right now. That red line is straight down. So that red line essentially signifies a rapid and essentially an astonishing increase in unemployment that happened very, very quickly. Now, my prediction, if we were to look at this a year from now, is the recovery is not going to be slow like you see in the other colors on this graph at other periods in time in the past, but my prediction is that the recovery will be fairly fast. Now, is it going to be a V-shaped recovery? I don't think so. I think it's going to be more of a U-shaped recovery. So I think we're likely to see something like this, and then we get back slowly. I don't think it's going to take as long as all of the other lines that you see, all of the other different colors corresponding to different years, but it's not gonna go away in a couple of months. In my opinion, it could take anywhere from 6 months at the low end to about a year for the country to recover economically. Now, again, this is just my opinion. I'm not a professional economist. I'm just a regular citizen, and I'm doing this as a way to educate all my subscribers. And besides, I'm a nerd. That's why I'm into all of this stuff. But that is just my prediction and my personal opinion. But I'm an optimist, and I do think that we will recover faster from this compared to everything else that's happened in the past, because this didn't happen because of a fundamental structural issue with the economy. The 2008 financial crisis was a structural issue with the economy, was a structural issue with the banking system. This is not a structural issue. This is us being essentially blindsided by a virus that essentially swept the whole world and took us by surprise, and has impacted us quite significantly. Now, there was a study done by the Financial Times, and this is interesting. The Financial Times actually found that there was a partisan split about the fears related to this pandemic, related to this illness. The Republicans were more concerned about the economy compared to Democrats, 45% versus 22%, and Democrats were more concerned about the impact on public health, about the impact on the overall system of healthcare in the country compared to Republicans. 78% versus 55%. They were more concerned about that than the economy. So essentially, we need both sides to see eye to eye so that there can be some progress, and so that there can be more stimulus and an overall better improvement in the architecture of our country, so we can get stronger and emerge from this. In fact, according to this poll by the Financial Times, 3/4 of American families say that this illness, this pandemic, has significantly reduced their income, and about half of them said that they would have no income unless they got back to work. That's how dire this situation. In fact, let's take a look at this chart on your screen right now, and you'll see some of the industries that have been hit the hardest. And this chart not only has economic but also has political considerations. This is a chart from the Bureau of Labor Statistics from CNBC, and if you look at the top of the chart, the hospitality industry, restaurants, they've been very, very badly affected. Almost 8 million unemployment claims. The next is education and health services. Schools are closed. Colleges are closed. In fact, students have started doing homeschooling, have started doing all these video calls instead of being able to do in-person learning at a campus, which is why education has been badly impacted. Professional and business services, including doctors, including physicians, have been impacted. Retail trade, forget about it. Retail stores are closed, and all retail stores are currently struggling. Manufacturing, government, construction. If you look at the very bottom, you'll see utilities, mining, and logging. Those are the only industries that have been relatively, you could say that they've had it not as difficult, but they've essentially all been impacted. All of these individuals have suffered significant job losses as a direct result of this situation, and there are political considerations to this, not only economic, because getting these individuals back to work, getting them back functioning in the economy, is the best way for political parties to earn their vote. Now, normally you would think that individuals who are making more than $100,000 a year are going to be in a much better financial position than those who are making less than $50,000 a year. But in an astonishing sign of how intense, how widespread this crisis is, 71% of families making more than $100,000 a year said that they had seen a significant reduction in their income because of this crisis, and 74% of families making less than $50,000 a year reported a significant decrease in their income or having no income at all. This tells you that everyone's been affected. Those making less money, those making more money. Everyone's been affected because of this. Now, before I get into some additional numbers, I do want to give you some good news. Both sides are now working in Washington, D.C. to pass an additional $1 trillion, potentially a larger than $1 trillion stimulus, which would include more funding for the states because the states desperately need money, more funding for hospitals, and more direct payments to Americans. So we are very, very likely to see that happening simply because of the political reality and also the economic reality. Speaking of economic realities, take a look at this chart on your screen now. And this chart comes from Bankrate. This is a Bankrate survey that was done in the end of March. Nearly a third of Americans say that stimulus checks will not sustain financial well-being for a full month. This tells you that people need more help than what they're getting now. So the question that was asked to all of these individuals was, given the addition of this stimulus money, how long do you think it will allow you to sustain your financial well-being? Now, 1 month to less than 3 months was what 32% of individuals said, and 23% of individuals said less than 1 month. So that's, when you combine that, that's more than half of all people responding to this survey. Here's another chart which essentially says that these stimulus payments are absolutely valuable. These are lifelines. These are essential for low income earners. And this also came from Bankrate. This was a survey done at the end of March. The question that was asked was, how important, if at all, would this stimulus money be to your financial situation in the near future? Those making under $30,000, 69% said very important. Those making from $30,000 to just under $50,000, 57% said very important. Those making between $50,000 to just under $75,000, 41% said very important. And here's an interesting thing: those making more than $80,000, presumably because they have a higher cost of living, they have more bills to pay, 49% of them said that this was very important. This just tells you that it doesn't matter whether you're a low income earner, a middle income earner, or a high income earner. This has knocked the wind out for everyone. I did do another video training on the changes in our behavior as we get through this, as we emerge from this. So definitely make sure to check that out, because I go into a lot more detail there about changes in our behavior. But this chart is really interesting because it talks about how Americans have changed their behavior drastically over the past month. You'll see that from February through March, there were significant trends that emerged. Now, if you look at that pink line, back in February, more than 80% of Americans said, well, I don't need to change my behavior. Now that number is down to 29%. Back in February, very few individuals were thinking about avoiding public places, and now it's at 62%. Very few individuals had cancelled or changed their travel plans. Now it's at 48%. I'm one of them, by the way. I'm one of them that falls into the avoiding public places category as well. None of them were thinking of putting off large purchases. Now 35% of Americans are putting off large purchases, and 7% of Americans have changed their investment profile since the start of February. Also, concerns about a worldwide financial slowdown have increased significantly. A Financial Times poll was conducted asking, what do you believe is the greatest threat to the American economy? And if you look at the last three things at the bottom, you'll see disputes with major trading partners like China and Mexico. Well, that's not too much of a concern right now. Loss of high-paying jobs due to automation, that used to be a concern, that's not right now. The Federal Reserve policy, including interest rate levels, that used to be a concern, that's not right now. What are the big concerns right now that weren't even on our radar a couple of months ago? Number one, a potential slowdown in the global economy. Look at that chart, look at that significant uptake about the concerns for a potential slowdown in the global economy. The second uptake is rising healthcare costs, and the third is a potential stock market downturn. So you can see how this has fundamentally led to a restructuring of what we believe in, what we are concerned about, and what our priorities were and what our priorities now are. There's a big difference between how our mental framework, how our economic framework used to be, and how our economic framework is right now. And again, this is one of the major reasons why I think we will see another $1 trillion plus stimulus plan. I think we'll see it in a few weeks, because the government is going to do what they can to get America back on track, to get us spending again, to get us out there again, to get us working again, to get us going to restaurants, going to parks, going to public places. It's not going to happen overnight, but I have a feeling that there will be another big $1 trillion stimulus bill, and there will be more help coming our way. And I mentioned the Financial Times polling data about the priorities for Republicans versus Democrats. Republicans are more likely to get Democrats, and you can see the chart right here. This also is courtesy of the Financial Times. Republicans are more likely than Democrats to be concerned about the economic impact of this pandemic. You can see that 45% of Republicans were concerned about the economy relative to 22% of Democrats. Now, on the other hand, when it comes to public health and our health system infrastructure, Democrats were much more concerned. 78% of Democrats were concerned relative to 55% of Republicans. Now, this is not a bad thing. This simply means that both sides have different priorities, and in the end, we need a balanced approach. We need the best possible approach with the best short-term and the long-term benefits to all of us. So I think that they'll come to an agreement, and I'm an optimist, and I think that they will come to an agreement, and we'll see something that helps all of us and helps us recover from this, and there'll be another big stimulus plan. At the end of the day, the fact of the matter is, even before this pandemic happened, according to a recent Bankrate survey, more than 4 out of every 10 Americans didn't even have the $1,000 in their bank account to be able to deal with an emergency expense. And now Americans are relying on stimulus checks. We are relying on unemployment in order to pay our rent and in order to pay our mortgage. And I think, and I'm hopeful that the two sides will come together and will pass another big stimulus plan. Now, if you enjoyed this video, if you benefited from this training, please go ahead and click the like button. Please click subscribe if you're not a member of our community yet, and please smash the notification button. Here's my closing comment. I think many years from now, when we look back at this, I think we'll pride ourselves on getting through this. I know that things are hard right now, and that's one of the reasons why I created my YouTube channel, because I wanted all of us to have the right information. I wanted all of us to have hope, and I wanted all of us to be optimistic about the future. I believe, strictly by virtue of the economic engine that is America, the strength of the US dollar, which is the reserve currency of the world, all the actions that the federal government is taking. Now, it's not a perfect system. No system is perfect, but I do believe, because of everything that's gone on, we will ultimately get through this. And even though we've been in a situation before where we struggled financially back in 2008 during the Great Recession, and now we're struggling, I do believe that when we emerge from this, we'll be able to look back and perhaps even improve our financial habits and have more of a financial buffer. I talk about money management and having the mindset for wealth and for success in other videos on my channel. Definitely check out the playlist on the mindset of money, on the millionaire mindset. I think you'll get a lot of that. Once again, everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you're a member of our community, thank you. Welcome back. If you're not a member of our community, please click the subscribe button below. Please smash the notification button so you get instant notifications. And please click the like button, and that'll help the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next training video. Hang in there. Another stimulus is coming soon.